Have you ever noticed that morning carries an authority most people sleep right through? That the first thought you allow into your heart before your feet even touch the floor will quietly set the tone for every conversation, every decision, every grief, and every joy that follows after it? There is a weight to the first hour, a strange, sacred weight. And the enemy knows it. Heaven knows it. That is why you are here right now, awake before the noise has begun, seeking a word before the world has spoken one over you. You did not pause here by accident. Heaven timed this. And what you are about to offer to God this morning is not a routine. It is a warfare. C.S. Lewis once said, somewhere in the margins of his letters, that the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope without signposts, where a soul simply forgets it is in a battle and stops praying, stops watching, stops beginning the day with anything more than a sigh. The screw-taped letters were his strange and holy imagination of how the devil works, and Lewis made it clear that the enemy rarely attacks with thunder. He attacks with neglect, with "I'll pray later," with the slow erosion of a man who once began his mornings worshiping and now begins them scrolling. That is what this morning is meant to undo. Stay close, because what comes next will change how you see the sunrise, and you will not want to miss a single line. There is a person right now, and I do not mean a vague crowd, I mean a specific soul, who has been carrying a cynicism they cannot name. They have not lost their faith exactly. They have not walked away exactly. But something has grown quiet in them. The prayers still happen, but they feel like ropes being thrown across a widening river that might not reach the other side. They have been waking up heavy. They have been wondering, privately, if gratitude is still possible for someone whose circumstances have not moved in so long they stopped counting the months. If that is you, and only your spirit knows if it is, then this word is not for the crowd. It is for you. The enemy is not trying to take your salvation. He is trying to take your mornings. He knows that a believer who begins a day on his knees is a believer who walks into the day armored. He knows that a soul who offers thanks before complaints form is a soul whose ammunition is full by 7 a.m., So he whispers the opposite. He whispers hurry. He whispers worry. He whispers that you can worship later, after you handle the thing, after you fix the situation, after you deserve it. And the war is already over. Beloved, Christ has already won it. The victory was not contingent on your morning prayers, but your experience of that victory is shaped by whether you collect it before the world tries to take it from you. This channel exists because people like you need prophetic truth delivered with love. Subscribe so heaven's messages keep reaching you. Now I want to walk you through something Asaph learned the hard way, because his journal is preserved in Psalm 73, and it reads like a letter written directly to your morning. Asaph was a worship leader. He was not a novice. He had been in the temple courts for years. He had written songs. He had led Israel into the presence of God. But there came a season when he looked around and saw the ungodly prospering, the wasteful living easy, the loud voices laughing, the arrogant multiplying their wealth while his own hands were steady in righteousness and his own heart was still breaking. And he said it plainly. When I tried to understand all this, it was oppressive to me till I entered the sanctuary of God. That is the turning of the whole psalm. Till he entered the sanctuary, till he stepped back into worship, till he changed his point of view by beginning his day again with God instead of beginning it with the noise of the world. And the moment the angle shifted, Asaph did not become grateful because his circumstances changed. He became grateful because his eyes changed. He suddenly saw the end of the wicked. He suddenly saw his own portion in God. He suddenly saw that the small group of people living with him in the house of the Lord, that even that was better than the laughter of 1,000 strangers in their tents. Do you see it? Gratitude is not a feeling that follows a blessing. It is a posture that precedes a revelation. You do not give thanks because the morning looks perfect. You give thanks because the one who holds the morning is faithful. And that changes everything. If this confirmed what you have been sensing, type in the comments, "My morning belongs to God." Let me speak to your mind for a moment, because not every obstacle to morning prayer is demonic. Some of it is just philosophical. Some of you have been quietly nursed on an idea that prayer is mostly psychological, a way to calm yourself down before a difficult day. And listen, there is a sense in which that is true. But C.S. Lewis, in Mere Christianity, made a distinction that I think will liberate you this morning. He wrote that we do not behave like scientists examining the universe. We behave more like children listening to a story that somebody is telling. Prayer, he said, is not self-hypnosis. It is not internal monologue. It is conversation. It is response. It is a creature speaking back to the Creator, and the Creator speaking back to the creature, often in ways that cannot be measured in a laboratory. When you offer thanks to God in the morning, you are not just arranging your emotions. You are answering. You are acknowledging that someone spoke first, that someone called you by name before you knew your own name, that someone kept you breathing through the night when your body forgot to be grateful. Prayer is not a technique. It is a relationship. And that is why Lewis could say that pride is the essential vice, because pride is what makes us treat a relationship as a technique. Pride says I can manage my morning on my own. Humility says I am not the source of this day. I am the recipient. And the appropriate response to a gift, the only appropriate response, is thanks. So this morning, when you bow your head, do not perform religion. Respond. Speak back. Answer the one who has already opened the day and placed it in your hands like an offering. Every gift in your hands today came because he gave it first. Sunlight, breath, a pillow, another chance, the strange mercy of being allowed to try again. That is not background. That is not scenery. That is grace. Everything I cannot say in one video, I wrote down. The ebook in the description goes 10x deeper. If this message is for you, that book definitely is too. Now I want to tell you about the war that takes place over your first word of the day, because most Christians are losing this war without realizing a battle has even begun. The first word you speak shapes the climate of your house. The first thought you entertain shapes the tone of your day. The enemy's most refined strategy, and Lewis saw this clearly in Screwtape, is not to make you believe big, dramatic lies. It is to make you forget that the morning has not yet been consecrated. He wants your first hour to be common, ungoverned. He wants you to wake and immediately absorb the news of the world, the anxieties of the economy, the comparisons of other people's lives, the whisper of, "You are not enough." He wants you to begin your day with the enemy's vocabulary well before you ever pick up Scripture. That is why the act of offering thanks to God this morning is not optional for the chosen one. It is strategic. It is decisive. It is your first act of war against a voice that has been waiting for you to wake up unguarded. Think of it this way. If you walked into a room and someone had been poisoning the food on the table all night, you would not eat first and ask questions later. You would inspect the table. You would cleanse what was placed before you. You would set a new atmosphere before letting anyone partake. That is what morning prayer does. It inspects a table. It reclaims a table. It sets a new atmosphere before the enemy's poison can be served. And the enemy has been serving poison. He has been serving comparison. He has been serving the lie that other people have what should have been yours. He has been serving the lie that the delay means God forgot. He has been serving the lie that silence means absence. C.S. Lewis, in The Problem of Pain, wrestled with this very thing, with how a loving God could allow such long, such bewildering, such unanswered seasons. And what Lewis concluded, and what the whole weight of his Christian work concluded, was this, that pain is not the final word, that the silence of God is not the absence of God, and that for the Christian, the wisest moment is never the last moment. Pain, for Lewis, was megaphoned, but it had a use-by date. The morning you are waking into, beloved, is part of that expiration. The enemy's poison has lost its potency on this morning. Comment, I consecrate this morning if your spirit just received this truth. But I want to be honest with you for a moment, because the script would feel hollow if I pretended gratitude always comes naturally. There are mornings when thankfulness feels like a lie. There are mornings when the memory of what was lost crowds out the gift of what remains. There are mornings when you wake and your first feeling is not joy but the dull ache of the unanswered prayer. There are mornings when you look at the ceiling and wonder if you will have the strength to bow again. If that is this morning, and many of you are here right now in that exact place, then let me tell you what Lewis tells me. Because Lewis understood the language of reluctant gratitude. He wrote that the Christian is not called to feel grateful at all moments. He is called to be grateful in the right direction. There is a difference. One is a temperature. The other is a turning. And turning, not temperature, is what God honors. You do not have to feel like thanking Him this morning. You can offer the words anyway. You can open your mouth and say them as an act of obedience rather than an act of emotion. You can say, Lord, I do not understand this season, but I thank you that you are in it. You can say, I do not feel strong today, but I thank you that you are. You can say, I am tired of being patient, but I thank you that you are faithful. That is not fake gratitude. That is warfare gratitude. That is gratitude that walks through the enemy line while the emotions lag behind in the tent. And here's the secret. He meets you on that road. Every single time. The first word of reluctant thanks in the morning is the very word that cracks open heaven for the rest of the day. Stay with me. The next revelation will go even deeper. Let me speak over your morning now, because it is time to shift. Heaven is not silent toward you this morning. Heaven is active, and there is something God is doing at this very hour in your life that you will not see with your eyes for weeks or months. He is arranging circumstances. He is opening doors that no hand of man can close. He is closing doors that no mind of man could have walked through safely. He is preparing a table for you in the presence of those who have mocked your faith. He is preparing an advocate for you in rooms you do not know you have entered. He is preparing mercy for you at the intersection of two seemingly unrelated events that could never have been timed by chance. And he wants you to begin this day not by listing what you do not have, but by naming the one who supplies it all. I have put together a guide called The Morning Altar, a 30-day devotional for chosen ones who refuse to begin their day without God, a deeper resource for those walking this exact journey. The link is in the description. Get it? It was written for this season of your life. Now let me show you something from the life of David that will steady your spirit for the rest of this week. David wrote Psalm 63 in the wilderness. It was morning, and he was thirsty, and the wilderness was hot, and the enemies were real, and the kingdom he had been anointed for was not yet under his feet. And what did he write? He wrote, O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water. Early will I seek you. That is not a man waiting until his circumstances are favorable before pursuing God. That is a man choosing to pursue God in the middle of the unfavorable. That is a man whose first act of every difficult day is to lift his face toward the one he cannot yet see clearly but whom he refuses to deny early in the day. And that is what God is looking for this morning in your life. Not perfection, not eloquence, not even confidence. Just arrival. Just the act of showing up at his gates before the world assembles. Just a willingness to be his before the morning is yours. If this ministry has been a source of spiritual strength for you, you can sow into it at Ko-Fi. The link is in the description. Every gift keeps this work going. I want to give you something to say over your morning. Not just a feeling to have, but a word to declare. Because the enemy has been declaring words over your morning for years. Words like behind, too late, unworthy, forgotten, ordinary. And the time has come to replace those words with something more ancient, something that heaven recognizes. Declare this with me, slow and deliberately. My morning belongs to God. My first breath belongs to God. My first thought belongs to God. The day does not own me. I do not walk into it unguarded. I have been consecrated before I have been challenged. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures even when the pastures look brown to other people. He leads me beside still waters even when the waters I'm walking through look like fire. He restores my soul this morning. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have just prayed scripture over your morning. That is how warfare is won. Not with anxiety, but with a word planted into your first hour before the enemy can put a fouler word there. Type today is consecrated. Below, let your agreement be an act of faith. Now let me draw back the curtain on something heaven is doing in this season of yours, and I want you to hear this with care. There are mornings you have offered thanks in the past when nothing visible changed. You prayed. You blessed God. You read the word. And the trouble did not move. The bill did not leave. The phone call did not come. The relationship was not restored. And the enemy whispered that your morning prayers were wasted, that they bounced off the ceiling, that heaven was not listening. But Lewis, in those famous reflections that became reflections on the Psalms, said something about how our prayers are not like throwing a stone into the air and hoping it hits the right window. They are more like a long, slow, faithful turning of a compass toward the north. The needle moves at the pace of obedience, not at the pace of our urgency. And the journey is not wasted because the northward turn is itself an act of worship. That means every faithful morning you gave God thanks, even when you did not feel it, even when you did not see it, even when the day ahead looked exactly like the day behind. Every one of those mornings was a northward turn. The needle moved. The needle is moving still. And the destination is closer than the enemy's accusations would have you believe. Your next level of discernment is in that ebook. The link below. It is prized to be accessible because I want it in your hands, not on a shelf. I want to speak over the coming hours of your day now, before I close us in prayer. Because the morning you have just consecrated will carry you into conversations that would have normally shaken you. It will carry you into news that would have normally paralyzed you. It will carry you into pressure that would have normally made you forget who you woke up to. Listen carefully. Whatever voice tries to interrupt your peace before noon, you have already received an earlier word from heaven regarding it. Whatever appointment tries to disrupt your joy, the Lord who met you at the beginning of this day has already gone ahead of you to your afternoon, your evening, your night. You are not walking alone. You are not catching up. You are not late. The same God who opened your eyes this morning is the same God who will close them tonight, who will count your steps in between, who will number even the hairs of your head, who will not allow your foot to be moved, who will not allow your soul to be utterly shaken. C.S. Lewis wrote once that the Christian's life is not a flight from the world, but a journey through it in good company, and that good company ultimately means the presence of God himself, not as a passenger, but as a one in whom we live and move and have our being. You are about to walk into that company today. Not in theory, not in hope. In fact, he has already gone before you. He is preparing places for you. He is not surprised by what you are about to face. If this spoke to your spirit, subscribe and turn on notifications. God has more to say, and I do not want you to miss a single word. And before I close us in prayer, hear me on this last truth. Gratitude is not a transaction. You are not thanking God so that he will do something. You are thanking God because he already has. The cross is already behind you. The empty tomb is already behind you. The Spirit has already been poured out. The Father has already spoken your name. The morning has already been declared. Gratitude is a recognition of an already finished work, not a bargaining chip for future favor. That is why it is warfare. The enemy tries to sell you the idea that gratitude is a kind of spiritual negotiation, that if you only thank him enough in the right way, with the right posture, then maybe he will move. And the truth is this, he has already moved. He moved at the cross. He moved in the resurrection. He moved when he woke you up this morning. Gratitude is you catching up with what heaven has already accomplished, not you coaxing heaven into accomplishing something new. So thank him, not because you have to, not because he needs it, because your spirit was made for this, and the rest of the day will be quieter because you did. This content is free because I believe everyone deserves prophetic truth. If you want to be part of making that possible, KOFI is how, link below. No pressure, pure partnership, a morning prayer for you. Father, I thank you for this morning. I thank you that before the world spoke its noise over my day, you spoke your peace over it. I thank you that my first breath was a gift I did not manufacture, and my last breath will be a return I cannot prevent. I thank you that the night did not claim me, and that the grave could not hold the one who holds me. Forgive me for every morning I have entered ungrateful, every sunrise I have faced as though you were not in it, every first thought I have allowed the enemy to plant before I planted your word myself. I offer you today, every hour, every conversation, every interruption, every joy, every grief. I offer you my hands and my mind and my mouth. I offer you my patience and my weariness. I offer you my unanswered prayers and my answered ones. I consecrate this morning. I declare your name over this day, and I declare that the one who began a good work in me will complete it, even on the mornings it feels incomplete. In the name above every name. Amen. The Lord who woke you this morning is faithful to carry you through it. Go in peace. Go in power. Go in gratitude. The seal of his presence is on you before your feet ever touch the floor again.